This is Talk Radio's Clashes of the Week. Now, I'm sure that it won't come as a surprise that the world has been somewhat distracted by the actions of a certain Mr. Putin. However, there are some who have completely missed the fact that the Canadian Prime Minister has gone around freezing the bank accounts of protesters. Doesn't sound terribly liberal to me. Well, Mike Graham spoke with caller Scott in Inverness. And there are those out there who believe that this is all part and parcel of the Great Reset. Really?
But let us go to the phones and talk to Scott, who's up in Inverness. Hello, Scott.
How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, very well, sir. What can I do for you?
I've just been watching the news over the last, obviously, week or so regarding the situation with Putin, Russia and Ukraine and whatsoever. And
Yes.
I've just noticed that not one single Western leader has condemned the actions of Trudeau in Canada.
They've said nothing about it, have they? That I can see.
The guy's freezing people's bank accounts.
Yeah.
You know, these people, they just want to go to work with no discrimination,
Right.
and they're getting their bank accounts frozen.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
seems extraordinary, doesn't it, what he's doing?
if that was, if that was just, say, in a Middle East country, Iraq or something like that, we'd be probably invading it ourselves, you know. So,
Well, I mean, it certainly would be grounds for saying that it's not a free country, wouldn't it?
yeah, I mean, you hear the people talking about the Great Reset, and you just think it's all conspiratorial. But then, just yesterday, I watched a video of Klaus Schwab saying he's infiltrated our government cabinets through his Young Leaders of Tomorrow programme, including Justin Trudeau himself.
Yes.
I mean, now it makes total sense.
I wouldn't
no
pay too much
Western leaders
attention
are
to
doing the
Schwab,
thing.
though.
What's that, sorry?
I wouldn't pay too much attention to him.
Well, why?
Well, why would you?
To what he's saying, though. He's just said
Yeah,
himself.
but who is he, though?
Infiltrated
Yeah,
government.
but who is he?
Who is he? Well, good question. That's what I want to know. You know, it's...
But he's not anybody important, is he?
Well, this guy who Dutch, like, there's someone put a freedom of information request. It was an MP, Dutch MP,
Uh-huh.
and they paid the World Economic Forum €600,000. He's the head of that forum, so it's obviously...
Yeah, but they don't
relevant.
even have meetings anymore because nobody goes to Davos anymore.
Well, there's obviously something going on if he's saying things like that. What does he mean by his?
Well, there's a
infiltrating
bloke that
government?
sits outside London Bridge Station who says he's the king of the world. Doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, but I think you know what I'm saying, Mike. It's obviously a little more relevant than that.
Well, I don't think it is. I mean, I've been talking to people about all of this for quite a while, and I've always said the Great Reset is a load of old cobblers, right? Now, we in this country are not part of that anymore, so nobody's ringing me anymore to say we are. So what's going on? Does the Great Reset only apply to Canada?
Well, no, but
Well, what's happening? Well, there's nothing like that happening here, is there?
Well, what's the whole response to COVID? You think that's just down to incompetence?
Yeah, pretty much.
What, do they want to implement a social credit system due with
No.
incompetence?
Well, they haven't, have they?
He said it himself. He says on his own website that it's a narrow window of opportunity.
Who does?
Klaus Schwab.
I've told you to stop paying any
Read
attention
it
to him.
well.
He's a silly old fool. I wouldn't worry about him.
Okay.
Seriously.
You know, it's
I
just,
mean, we're not introducing a social credit system, are we?
Well,
I mean, you can
maybe
say
not
that we're
the
going
market
to,
cost
but
is being
you
put
can.
up
I mean,
for
but
the
Scott, you could say that we're going to, and you might be right. But as far as I know, we're not, and as far as I can see, we haven't.
is it not worth talking about, though, who this
Well,
man is? And
we
why
are
he's
talking about it. I'm telling you, he's a silly old fool, not worth paying any attention to.
So the man that says he has Justin Trudeau going through his Young Leaders of Tomorrow programme, infiltrating his own government cabinet, is not worth talking about.
Well, he got elected. He didn't infiltrate it. He became Prime Minister as a result of an election, right?
Well, he's not the only Canadian, obviously, in the World Economic Forum, is he?
Well, no, but I'm not sure what your point is. I mean, nobody else is doing what Trudeau's doing. I condemn Trudeau for what he's doing, but he's not doing it in cahoots with everybody else because nobody else is doing it.
Yeah, probably because the amount of pushback in other countries.
Well, there's
They
quite a
just
bit of
think it's
pushback in
illegal.
Canada, and in the end, Trudeau will be kicked out of office, and he will no longer be able to do what he's doing, and that'll be the end of that.
Well,
I
see what happens
tend to be less pessimistic. Listen, Scott, I'm happy for you to think that, but I need somebody to give me a bit more evidence, I'm afraid.
You know, I genuinely find myself quite concerned for those who believe that this is just the Great Reset, even if it's actually a thing. The world has changed since the dawn of time. Life progresses, aspects of it deteriorate, and many of us are left to forever mourn the life we once knew. It doesn't, however, mean that this is somehow part of a massive collaborative conspiracy by world leaders, who, by the way, don't appear to know which part of themselves they're supposed to use to talk from. To somehow control all of us, though, really? Now, if a leader like Trudeau wants to restore some sense of order to his country, then I don't personally blame him for that. I, of course, believe that he's a bit of a pillock who can't see that his actions in the first place have caused such outrage. But the point is, through all of the above, I believe in law and order, and if nothing else, out of courtesy to others. Why shouldn't the majority of people be allowed to go about their day-to-day lives unimpinged by a handful who happen to have the most shocking issue with authority? This is Talk Radio's Clashes of the Week. Up next.
I know a number of small businesses.
Hang on. I'm not letting you get away with that.
I've not finished yet.
No. This is my hour.
No.
You listen until you come
No.
young man. No.
I'll just go.
You just
if you talk to me like that, I'll just walk out. You'll be on your own.
But I learnt from the master.
I don't care. No.
Yikes. That's coming up after this. This is Talk Radio's Clashes of the Week with me, Phil Dave. Now, who says that a clash has to be between one of the team here at Talk Radio and a guest with a curious view? Well, we don't, which is precisely why our next ruckus was between Nick de Bois and James Whale. Now, we all know that Kevin O'Sullivan and James don't always see eye to eye, but the other evening, as Nick was wrapping up his show, this happened between him and the charmer of late nights.
Remember they're talking about the golden visa and how I have used the golden visa in America when we ran what was my company that I founded and started, and we wanted to open a division in America, which, by the way, was the biggest mistake that I ever made. I don't think it ever made money, which is kind of the whole point of opening it up. Well, to open it up, I needed to be there, and I basically showed them we were investing in total in jobs and expenditure about $1 million of company money. Now, don't mistake that. That doesn't mean I was wandering around with £1 million in my pocket. And they gave me this equivalent of an investor's visa. And I used that story on Twitter as well. And this America to show that there's another side to it. It's not just all about dodgy Russian money, which is basically the claim that was being rather made by Priti Patel, why she wants to chuck them out. And I'm saying don't chuck the baby out with the bathwater. There's a very good benefit to these things. Anyway, not according to this tweet that has come in, which is basically saying to me that we do not need a dodgy events and exhibitions company, because that's the business that I was in America. We've got perfectly good ones of our own. Well, our customers didn't think so because, well, they I'm sure they did think they were good, but they thought we were pretty good as well. And you just used it to buy your way into a visa. Okay, well, that has to be the award for the most unintelligent tweet of the evening. Not least because he didn't bother doing any facts. And we were there for, let's just say, 6 years. We spent a lot of money, and I did have the right to remain there. I had an apartment there. America benefited from our money. We didn't make a profit, so they benefited really at our expense. And I was given a golden visa to do it. No dodgy money, no dodgy Russian stuff. But dear old Priti Patel, she wants to close down the whole system, which is the wrong answer. Reform the system. Get rid of the crooks. Get them out of London. By all means, I don't want their filthy Russian dodgy money. But why say no to investors who want to invest in this country? Isn't that what Brexit is? Take back control. You want to get the people you want to come back into the country. I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. And now, top of the hour, James Whale. James, how the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so you need me to help out. I'm quite happy to do that. I'll expect paying. Now, that's the most stupid thing I've heard you say, or anybody say, really. Why are these pillocks not actually being investigated? It's okay to get these people to come into the country, invest their money in the country without checking into them. I know a number of small businesses.
Hang on. I'm not letting you get away with that.
I've not finished yet.
No. This is my hour.
No.
You listen until you come
No.
man. No.
I'll just go.
You just
if
said
you talk to me like that, I'll just walk out. You'll be on your own.
But I learnt from the master.
I don't care. No. MPs like you, okay, and you're still an MP,
No, I'm not.
think you can do whatever you like. When people actually come into this country, they need to be checked out. We need to know where their money is coming from.
But I didn't
The rest
disagree
of us
with
would
you.
have to do it.
That's what I said. Get rid of the filthy money, the dodgy people. We don't
So
need them.
why didn't your government do it?
Well, I'm talking about the golden visa. And I'm saying, just change it so you don't have the filthy money. Why get rid of the good money with the filthy money?
Why would you get rid of the good money?
Well,
It's just making laziness in not checking out the people to see whether they're
exactly.
good or bad.
We agree, you see. It's so easy to check where this money comes from. They want to come into
Well, why
our
hasn't
country.
it been done?
You have
I
to
mean,
ask
you
them.
were there as an advisor to the government. Why weren't you doing it?
No, look. Oh, sorry. You're overrating what an MP does. You think we advise the government? No, we ask questions
Well,
of them.
here we are on another issue. You're so weak, all of you. You let the civil servants run the country.
Oh, I don't
you
know,
don't
there's
stand
n-
up to those silly little spads you have in your office.
No,
I mean,
that's-
most of them came out of university. Hardly any of them know what the friggin' hell they're doing.
Now, James, I'm going to give you a quick lesson here, if you don't mind, and I'll do
Good.
it in 30 seconds. A special advisor
I'm
works
waiting.
for a minister, right? A minister is an MP.
Don't you get one of
but
those?
no, of course not, right?
Oh,
An
okay.
MP,
Well, what do you get?
Well, we're lucky if we can get a secretary and a researcher. Right?
Well, of course you do. How many people are in your family? That's who you get. You employ all the
dream
family,
on.
and
there's,
you know,
there's
there
currently
we are.
70 out of 650 MPs who do that, and I can promise you my wife would never work for me. You see, this is the problem with the media today. They latch onto
What?
something and feed misinformation out there that we're all employing our
Then
wives.
why don't people like you come back on and actually have the nerve to stand up to people in the media? Because you don't. You hide away. Oh, I'm not available for an interview today. No, I can't do it tomorrow.
Well,
no,
you
we've
can
been told
hardly
by the
accuse
whips we
me of
can't
that.
talk.
I'm on air every night, and I'm not an MP.
Well, yes, because you're doing a program now. You're in the
I've elevated
in
myself.
the media mix.
I've elevated myself,
put
but I will tell you
Wouldn't put
this.
it quite that far.
I've elevated myself, I most certainly have. But I'll tell you this, I will agree with you about this. After that knife crime incident earlier this week, isn't it funny? I haven't been able to get one Conservative or one Labour MP to come on and discuss with me what I think needs to be done and challenge what they have not done on knife crime. So where are they, James?
Well, why haven't you done it on knife crime? Well, I agree. Listen, I totally agree. I have to say, though, that I am really pretty... The Labour Party don't matter anymore. The Liberal Democrats are insignificant. They're pretty useless. And the Conservative Party are beginning to worry me because there are lots of people there who are turning on their leader. Now, you might not like Boris. He is one of those people, a bit like me, I suppose, who does tend to rub people up the wrong way.
Marmite.
But he's the leader. He's done a good job. He's got us out of the European dictatorship, but we need to get out further. But that's another thing. He's
agreed.
controlled us over COVID, and now everybody's turning on him. That's true. In my mind, I'd put them in the
But
tower.
actually, they're not. Again, that's a media myth, and I'll tell you why. Because if he had
Well,
a
I've
vote,
interviewed a couple who certainly are.
well, look, no, some are, but he has. Look, there's not even 54 letters in. There's about 380 MPs. Take him out of the mix. 379. If he had a vote of confidence today, he would win. In fact, my advice to him is
Why doesn't
bring
he
it
call
on.
for it?
Well, under
Yeah,
the
that's what he should do.
yeah,
Call for it.
that is my advice. But under the rules, you can't actually call
He
for a
can't.
vote of confidence.
Okay, you're in the know. Is Carrie actually telling him what to do, or does he actually believe in some of these
Well,
rather ridiculous green initiatives?
His green initiatives are absolutely bonkers. But there is absolutely no man on earth, least of all a prime minister, who will not listen to his wife. I think he would be foolish not to take advice from her. The fact she's wrong is up to him to decide. He's the one who makes the decisions, but just not to listen to her would be stupid. His green agenda...
I agree with you on that, by the way. I thought you were going to say something else, which was a shame. Then I was going to yell at you. But no, I agree with you. I mean, who thinks that a man doesn't listen, or a woman doesn't listen to her husband, or a man doesn't listen to his wife? Of course they do. And they've got to remember that prime ministers work harder than anyone else in the country. I'm just fed up with the little ones, the insignificant ones who joined the last election, who came from very difficult seats, and now they're clinging on to it as hard as they can.
James, have you ever put up for Parliament? Because
No,
I tell you what...
far too
I
old.
tell you what, if you did put up for... You're not too old, that's ageist. The last MP who went in was about 66. But if you put
I'm a
up
lot
for
older than
Parliament,
that.
you are then qualified to actually make a judgment, be accountable to people, stand and be counted in votes, because all of those people who won the election, they deserve respect for putting themselves up and being judged. We just come on air, you and me, we rant, we have a go, we give our opinions.
I totally disagree. Because, no. The MPs, some very good MPs, I've got a lot of respect for most MPs, but some I've met are just useless.
Well, of course they are, but then there's useless broadcasters, there's useless policemen, but every profession has some useless people.
But that doesn't make an excuse for it. These are people who stand up, put themselves in a position to represent other people so we can have a democracy.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of these people... well, I'm not sure it does, actually.
It does. It's the best parliament in the world, James, and I defy you to give me a parliament that is better.
We are the best people in the world, right? The British. Oh, not sure about some of the... Anyway, we, the British, as long as you don't want independence if you're in Scotland and Wales or anywhere else, are the best nation on earth. And we're way over time.
We are way over time. We've got to go.
Nobody's talking to me.
I enjoyed that.
We'll continue next week.
We will
I'm not
indeed.
Here on a Thursday.
James, have a great show. That's James Well coming up now, late because of me. See you tomorrow.
The golden visa. Just in case, by the way, you haven't cottoned on to what this actually is. It's the system that sees those who are trying to live in another country who potentially have a lot of money to invest in said country to be able to afford a fast track into that country in a bid to boost the economy. Well, that's it in a nutshell anyway. Now, was it just me, or were James and Nick basically agreeing there? So, what hope is there for the rest of us? If they're going to argue over a point they seem to agree on, I have a very simple theory when it comes to golden visas. Just carry out the appropriate checks. I don't believe for a second that there would be many people who are trying to obtain golden visas, so in that case, surely it can't take much to scrutinise every aspect of their wealth. Having said that, even if there are numerous applications, still carry out the appropriate checks to root out the corruption, if indeed they're that bothered by such things in the first place. I'm so sorry, did I just say that out loud? Anyway, that's it for this edition of Clashes of the Week. From me, Phil Dave, thank you for the pleasure of your company, and make sure you stay tuned to the home of common sense. Of course, this is Talk Radio.